Hare Krishna.
Are you able to see the screen?
Yes, Prabhu. This
Okay.
is Dangad, right?
Huh? Yeah.
Dangad.
We'll start with the story that we didn't tell yesterday.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Am I audible nicely?
Yes, Vishwarup Prabhu, loud and clear.
Very good. So yesterday we ended at Dangad. We visited Dangad, we prayed for Dangad also, but we did not tell the story. So Dangad is supposed to be a place where Sri Krishna is always begging Radharani the donation, the dan of love. Rati Dan, it is called as. There are 8 aspects of love. One is Rati, Prem, Sneha, Rag, Anurag, Man, Mahabhav, and one more thing is there. Anyways, all these 8 together becomes Mahabhav, and that Mahabhav is uh, the only thing that Krishna is hankering for. Mahabhav is the thing that Radharani originates that, and Sri Krishna receives it from her. So the beginning of that is Rati. Rati means attraction, attachment. So in this place, he always is begging. That's why it's called Dangad. Another story is that when Brahmin came here with his 3 daughters, and he was asking Krishna for donations to get the daughters married. So Krishna said, I do not have anything. I don't have anything. So Krishna said, I will think what I have. Let me see. And he thought for a while and then he realized that he has the greatest wealth in the form of Radharani. So he said, I will donate Radharani to you. So he donated Radharani to him and he started crying loudly. He said, I had 3 in the beginning, now I have 4. So how do I manage? So then Krishna very kindly said that um, we will put Radharani in balance on one side and all gopis should donate all their ornaments on other side. And we will donate the ornaments as equal to weight of Radharani to the Brahmin. So then they, gopis, removed all their ornaments and they put on the other side of the balance, but it did not match, it did not equal. So then one Tulsi Patra was offered and it was equaled, and that's how all the jewelry was offered to the Brahmin here, and Brahmin was very happy. This is also a place for Rasa Mandala, that is where Krishna performs Ras Leela. At the time of Shravan and Bhadrapad month, Sri Krishna also performs Jula Leela here, Julan Yatra. So this is a very beautiful place this is second mountain, and this is Radha Dan Bihari. Very beautiful darshan Ram Bihari. Please offer our obeisances. We of course prayed yesterday here. And now we will leave from here to go to Man Mandir. Sorry, to go to Vilasgad, the third mountain. Vilasgad, as the name suggests, Vilas means enjoying pastimes. Krishna performs Ras Leela here, Julan Yatra here, Has Parihas, and so many beautiful pastimes go together with gopis. This is a very not commonly visited mountain because there is no proper way to go up. But now there is a road of car. Otherwise, people had to climb the mountain. You have to do mountaineering to go up. That's why not frequently visited, but very, very intense place. You can see from close by. This is the forest of Vilasgarh, and this is a small Rasmandal and Singhasan. This is a big Rasmandal and Singhasan, and this is the forest of Gehavarban. As I told you, it starts from Radharani's temple all the way to Chitrasakhi's village, at the end of Chitrasakhi's village. So to Vilasgarh, we will offer our prayers. Vilasa Rupine Tubhyam Namak Krishna Yate Namaha Sakhi Varga Suptaya Krida Vimaladarshine. O Vilasgarh, you give pleasure to all the Sakhis of Krishna. You give transcendental joy to Krishna also. You are very pure. I offer my humble obeisances to you. Let us offer our heartfelt pranam to this beautiful place of divine pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Then we leave from here and we start walking towards Man Mandir. You see, I'm purposely showing you this mountainous area because all this is consisting, all this land is under the title called Gehavarban. That's why I'm showing that there are very unique trees. These trees you will not see anywhere in the world. And especially if you come in the month of August, when it rains, it becomes very green and very, very beautiful. I'll show you some pictures in the future. So this is another rainy season photograph. This is summer season photograph. This is a rainy season photograph. This is how it becomes very beautiful. And then we come to the steps of Man Mandir. We climb Man Mandir and we come to the entrance of Man Mandir. Man Mandir is at Mangad, within the realm of Gehavarban, the 4th degree item of Barsana Dham. Let me revise with you. Barsana is made up of 4 things: Khor, Khirak, Giri and Gehavar. Khor is the narrow lane, Khirak is water ponds rather, and Giri is the 4 mountain peaks of Barsana, who is Brahma, and 5th is Gehavarban, 4th is Gehavarban. So we are now entering a mountain which is the most intense of all the 4 mountains. This mountain is depicting leelas which are very inconceivable. For example, in our material world, we get angry when our desire is not fulfilled, or somebody disappoints us, or we don't expect certain thing. We get angry, and the anger is basically based on selfishness, that I am not happy, so I get angry. But here something called as Man Gad is there, Man Mandir, Man Bihari Lal. What does Man mean? Man means it is also anger or upsetness, but it is not meant for selfish purpose. It is meant for increasing the love between the beloved and us, that is Radha and Krishna. So at this place, especially Radha Rani used to get upset and used to come and sit on this mountain, and then she would be pacified by Krishna and gopis. Let's go inside and have darshan. We are entering now. This is Radha Man Bihari Lal. Very beautiful deities, and every day they decorate them very beautifully and they send a photograph. Some of the photographs are there for your pleasure. Please offer your heartfelt pranams to Radha Man Bihari Lal. Before we understand, this is the prayer. Devagandharvaya Ramyaya Radha Manavidhayine Manam Mandira Samudnyaya Namaste Ratna Bhumaye. Radharani performed Man Leela here. Thus, this place got designated as Man Mandir. Demigods and Gandharvas derive great pleasure by coming here. We offer our humble obeisances to you, O dear Mangad. Now you can see, this is what I was telling yesterday, that how Krishna himself proved by writing the line himself that he becomes subordinate to Radharani, and when she gets upset with something, he bows down to her, he puts his crown to her lotus feet, he puts his head to her lotus feet afterwards, and still she doesn't agree, then he rolls in the dust under her feet. So that he is not shy of telling that Radharani is supreme for me. I cannot make her upset, but he does make her upset. For example, by coming late for Ras Leela, by prolonging her teaching classes for a long time by not understanding what she's teaching purposefully to delay the class timings. And at this particular place, he compared her face to the moon, and she was very upset. Generally, if some lady is compared that her face is like moon, Chandramukhi, she will become very happy. But Radharani got angry because she thought that she told Krishna that you cannot compare me with moon because moon has lots of dots. My beauty doesn't have any dot. Moon gets increasing in size and decreases in size. So moon is decreasing, is beauty is changing. It is sometimes visible, not visible in Purnima and Amavasya. But my beauty is never decreasing, but in fact it's always increasing. And then she said that moon is eclipsed regularly. My beauty is never eclipsed. The moon is dependent on sun for its light or effulgence. My beauty is self-effulgence. So many things. And finally she said that all that I can tolerate, but Chandra is the half name. Chandra is a half name of my rival Chandravali. So I cannot tolerate myself to be compared with Chandravali. I mean the name Chandra. And she went up. And then, he went up on sat on the mountain, and Lalita went. Krishna sent Lalita to pacify her. Lalita was sent back by Radharani. Krishna again sent back Lalita. Krishna sent back Radharani. And in the meantime, every time Lalita was going up and down, Krishna and Radharani was climbing higher and higher and higher. And finally, she tells Krishna that you have made me, there's a word called Chaugan ki gend. Chaugan ki gend means football, like football. You have made me like a football. She kicks me from there, you kick me from here, and there's no result in between. So finally, she goes on the top of the mountain. There's a cave there where she goes and sits and doesn't budge to anybody's request or pacifying efforts. So then Krishna is trying his best. You see the photograph here. Lalita is trying to hold, Radharani to hold Krishna's hand, Krishna to hold Radharani's hand. Krishna is eager, Radharani is not interested. So finally, this is a very difficult situation. Krishna is crying, Radharani is upset, Lalita, gopis are upset because they want to pacify Radharani. And suddenly Lalita whispers something in Krishna's ears. And she also goes away and Krishna also goes away. And within few moments, you can see how he is trying to pacify, but she is not getting pacified. But then in this place, which is called as Morkuti, which is right in front of Mangad, You can see Morkuti from Mangad. So Radharani is sitting on the top of the Mangad, upset, and Krishna is told something in the ear and he goes away. And then suddenly on this mountain peak, which is not the head of the Brahma, but separate mountain peak called Morkuti, one peacock comes and the peacock starts dancing. And peacocks are dancing and dancing, and the gopis say, look, Radha, look, how beautiful the peacock is dancing. So she's not ready to see also. Then she said, why? Krishna is gone now. He is no more here. The peacock is dancing. So she turns and sees, and the peacock is dancing very beautifully. So she really turns and starts seeing. Peacock gets encouraged and peacock starts dancing, and many more peacocks come, many peahens come, and the dance becomes ecstatic. And then Radharani becomes so enamored by the dance of peacock. She goes and joins that peacock and starts dancing with the peacock as peahen. And they dance and dance and dance. And you can see the situation here. Finally, she comes to know that peacock is Krishna. Then she comes very close in dancing with Krishna, the peacock. In this posture, actually this is a posture. In this posture when they come, she realizes that it is not peacock, it is Krishna. By the time her anger had gone and she was very happy. So this is a place called Morkuti where Krishna dances, and this is the picture which is put there on the altar. Now there are unlimited peacock pastimes. This is the famous one, and there was a old blind Baba, a sadhu, residing in Morkuti. And he was blind, but he was a self-realized soul. He had a lion as his disciple, and the lion would go and beg rotis amazingly into Mangad, and everybody was used to that. Ting tong, somebody will ring the bell, and you'll find lion on the door and says, "Okay, Bhavati Bhikshan Dehi," and they would put rotis in the bag which is around his neck. He'll go to 4, 5 houses, collect rotis, and then he will go back. This kind of Baba he was, very, very realized person and very highly elevated spiritually. So Radharani came in his dream, and Radharani showed him the More Leela, the peacock pastime. And all that Leela was shown to him by Radharani. And finally, at this posture with Radharani and Krishna, the Leela stopped. And then Radharani told that old Baba, please draw a picture of ourselves, myself and Krishna, dancing as peacock and peahen. So he said, I'm blind. How can I draw a picture? He said, by my mercy, you can do it. And actually speaking, their blind Baba painted this picture. And this picture is there on the altar at Morkuti. This picture is dressed up. This picture is offered flowers, garlands, offered bhoga, arati, everything. So this is the deity of Morkuti, which tells us many, many things about the peacock pastimes of Radha and Krishna and the devotion that the blind Baba had to Radha and Krishna. Because blind people are blind with eyes, they're not blind with heart. They can see the dreams. Radharani came in his dreams and Radharani empowered him by the dint of his devotion. That's why we have this unique situation, and they don't allow to take pictures. Somehow we were able to take the picture, and this picture is on the altar. You can see that there are a variety of peacock pastimes. This is one pastime. Another pastime is that Krishna and Radharani both come there at Morkuti, and then one peacock comes and start dancing. Then Radharani sends her peahen and start dancing, and then many more peacocks come and many peahen come and start dancing, and then Radharani and Krishna give them music of their ankle bells and flute and bangles, and they peacocks make dance. Another time, Krishna is dressed up as peacock, Radharani is dressed up as peahen, and they both dance. And actual peacocks and peahen, they come and dance. At certain times, Krishna becomes peacock, Radharani becomes actual peahen, and all the gopis watch their dance. And there is every single day unlimited peacock pastimes taking place on this holy place called Morkuti. You can see how gracefully Krishna dances, how gracefully Radharani dances. And it's a very unique pastime. No other Leela of the Lord has such fantastic, unbelievable pastimes. So, after visiting, now we will come to a small different point that Radhanath Maharaj, our Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Radhanath Swami, walked from Radharani's temple to Man Mandir from this path which I am showing you. And then he reached Man Mandir on the instruction of Ghanshyam Baba. You can read it into the book called Journey Home. And then this is the place where he came, and this is the Baba whom we associated with for 6 months. This is Param Pujya Ramesh Babaji Maharaj, who had come here from Allahabad in 1952. The last 68 years he resided here. And when he came, it was filled with dacoits, and dacoits would keep their stolen material here, and they threatened Baba so many times. But Baba said that you can kill me, no problem, but I will not leave. I have come to die only here. So even if you kill me, it doesn't matter. If Radharani wants me to die with your hands, with gun, they had raised gun on him. So very beautiful statement which inspires me. He said, I have come to die here only. So you can't threaten me with death. I'm ready to die. So finally the dacoits went away. He stayed there. And today he developed the whole place so beautifully. The Ghevar Ban was also looted by the mafias. So he fought for 46 years, and he made the Ghevar Ban into protected Vana Vibhag, protected area by the forest department. He fought the battle of saving the mountains because the land mafias were breaking the mountains to collect stone, yield stone, and sent for construction. So his point was that the mountains cannot be renovated. You can renovate the kunda or water reservoir, or you can renovate the forest, but you cannot renovate mountain. Can you renovate mountain? If mountain is blasted by dynamite, can you repair the mountain? No, it's forever gone. So he fought the Battle of Gabarban for 46 years. Then he fought another 7 years Battle of Mountains. The mountains were protected by the government, and many other battles he fought. Now he is fighting the battle of cleaning Jamuna for last 7 years, and it's taking shape now because of the change of government in the local UP government and the central government. So we are very grateful in his association. His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj received choicest realizations, and what he was searching for, he found it over here. The people who are there now, who are in 70s now, they were in 20s when he came, of his age mostly. And they tell me that when Radhanath Swami came here, he was his eyes were in such a way that he was searching something. If you look into his eyes, you'll know he's searching something. But now when we meet him, we can see in his eyes that he has found what he was searching. That is a very beautiful thing. And so because of in the 6 month stay, Radhanath Swami would climb the mountain, stay on the mountain, come down the mountain and beg Madhukri, come down the mountain to fetch water of 2 buckets all the way on the mountain. And what steps you saw are very beautiful, very well made steps. In those days when I also went in 86, they were rocky steps. They were not like beautifully made steps. We had to really 4 steps we had to climb as 1 step. Because we were young, we could do that. And on such a difficult ride on the climb, he would carry 2 buckets of water at one time. And then that water would be utilized by Ramesh Baba and Sakhi Sharan Baba and one more person. It was 1971 story. So when time came to go from this place, Radhanath Maharaj thought that I have gained so much spiritually from this place, so I would like to do something good for this place in the future, offer my gratitude. That is why in 1989, when we first came up with the proposal of holding iCamp in Barsana, immediately Radhanath Swami consented to hold the camp. And since 1992, we have been holding iCamps here. That is actually the expression of the gratitude of Radhanath Maharaj to the town of Barsana, to the people of Barsana. It is an expression of his gratitude. So we are very fortunate ourselves. We consider ourselves very fortunate that we were able to fulfill the desire of His Holiness Radhanath Swami to do something good and in concrete, in a wonderful way, by giving eyesight to the blind people who are blinded by cataract. So we are very grateful to Ramesh Babaji Maharaj, also to Barsana Dham, to Radharani, that our Guru Maharaj got his lifetime realizations at this particular place. This is another beautiful situation on the ground level. There is something called as Radha Ras Mandir, where there is a family where in those 6 months Radhanath Swami would come up and down many times, sometimes eat roti. So this is one of the Mataji in the family called Lakshmi Devi. We lovingly call her as Lacho Didi. And Lacho Didi, this is the situation where she would make Hath ki roti. Very beautiful in the winter season, Bajre ki roti, in the summer season, Aate ki roti. But they would do that only when they have some special guests. Otherwise, they will roll the rotis. But when some special guests come, they will make it by hand. That is called Hath ki roti. That is their expression of love or respect to some special people. So myself and Radhanath Swami many times have been very fortunate to sit in front of her in the same place where she is sitting, and she would make hot rotis, Hath ki roti, and serve us with umpteen amount of butter on that. And then those rotis would be roasted in the actual fire made of cow dung cakes. So half will be roasted on the tawa, on the pan, and then the roti will be made stand in the fire down, which is aided with cow dung cakes. And Radhanath Swami says that those who are able to eat Hath ki roti from Lacho Didi's hand, they are the most fortunate people in the whole universe. So we offer pranams to this Brijvasi family. This Brijvasi family is consisting of 2 sisters and 3 brothers. And that time when I was there, first time I went there, even mother and father were there. And 68 of us, the doctors and nurses, we stayed in their own house. 68 of us when we went for the first camp in 1992, where we operated 185 eye operations. But our residence was their house. They were feeding us. They were giving us blanket. They were giving us cow milk. They were eating water for us. They were doing everything for us. So we are eternally indebted to this family to take care of Radhanath Maharaj when he was there, and to take care of all of us when we went in 1992 onwards. Even today they are our hosts, but we don't stay there. We have ashrams now. But in those days when we were new there, they had given all kinds of support. Tan, man, dhan, equipments, instruments, generator, whatever you want is all yours. Please do the service. It was their inspiration. So Man Mandir, Mangad, Barsana, if you have to understand, you have to understand the mood of these people who stay there and lead their selfless lives. So our pranams to Lakshmi Didi. She is now over 65, maybe 70-year-old. From there we see a beautiful pond on from above the Mangad. And this is called Dohani Kund. Dohani Kund means Dohan. Dohan karna means milking the cows. And Vrishabhanu Maharaj had lakhs and lakhs of cows. And we have 2-liter pot of milk and 4-liter pot of milk. Sometimes festival is there 5 liters, sometimes 10 liters maximum. This is only in the pot. But Vrishabhanu Maharaj would milk the cows and store the milk in this pond. This pond is so big and deep. The whole of Bhaktivedanta Hospital can fit in this pond. So almost 2 acres, 1.5 to 2 acres of area. And this much milk used to be there, imagine. Krishna came here one time when the milking was going on in the evening time and requested Radharani, can I milk your cow? Radharani was very happy. And Krishna was an expert, expert in milking cows. So Radharani held the calf and Krishna tied the 2 hind legs with a small rope and took his position. He was so gracious and so artistic. Radharani was amazed to see Krishna's skill in milking the cow. And then suddenly when Krishna was milking the cow, he just turned one of the udder and the whole the jet flow of milk went on the face of Radharani. Radharani was suddenly surprised. Was unexpected thing happened. Suddenly Krishna engrossed her in making her watch him milking the cow, and suddenly he turned 90 degrees, the udder, and all the big jet of milk attacked the face of Radharani. That beautiful pastime took place over here. Let us offer our prayers to Dohani Kund, which is the place of Radharani's father's milking. There's a verse for that. Rakta Neela Sita Dumra Pita Gohodana Prada Pita Godohana Prada Rishabhanu Kratastirtha Namastudhyam Namastubhyam Prasidame. Vrishabhanu Maharaj milked here many kinds of cows, red cows, blue cows, white cows, dark cows, yellow cows, and made this place very auspicious holy place. I offer my humble obeisances to this place, to you, O Dohani Kund. Please be pleased with me. And we go ahead and we visit the second place called the first one. The first typicality of Barsana is Khor, that is narrow lane. Sankri Khor, that means narrow lane, which is formed by the union of the bottoms of 2 mountains. One is Vilasgarh and one is Dangarh. When they are like this, when they come down like this, the same situation is there here. These mountains are meeting here. When they meet, a unique situation happens. There's a pathway, but you can go only one person at a time, at one time, only in one way. You cannot take 2 people in one way or 2 people in opposite direction. I again repeat, the road allows you one person at one time to go in one direction only. And the one side of this place is Barsana, one side of the place is Nandagaon. So from Nandagaon sound, Krishna will come with his cowherd boys. And from Barsana side, Radharani and gopis will come to sell their butter and ghee and yogurt to go to Mathura, and Krishna would stop them. You can see this is called Sakri Kor. This is Radharani Chhatri. This is, you can see the two men are coming, that is Chiksoli Barsana side. And other side is Nandagaon side from where Krishna comes. Again, you can see from the opposite side, gopis come. From my side, Krishna will come. And you can see the scene here. It is said that Krishna, what he has in hand is called Lakuti. Lakuti means it is also used to herd the cows. It is little curved also. So Krishna would put that Lakuti in a crossed manner, in an angled manner to block the road. And then Raghunath Das Goswami writes in his Dan Keli Kaumudi, Rupa Goswami writes in Dan Kevi Chintamani, maybe Raghunath Das Goswami wrote Dan Keli Chintamani. Raghunath Das wrote that, and Rupa Goswami wrote Dan Keli Kaumudi. In these books, the pastimes of arguments and fights and stopping gopis and breaking the pot and arguments, everything is described. The gist of the argument is Krishna says, you are walking in my area with your precious jewels, precious bodies, and precious butter. So you have to pay tax to me. So you can see the green one, the lady wearing green sari is Lalita. She is quite strong in her nature. The one who is in pink is Radharani, very mild in nature. And they are carrying pots of yogurt and butter. You can see how upset they are because somebody very cunningly stopping them. And then the gopis will say, Are, you are a borrowed king. King made with borrowed things. My Radharani's father, Vishwanu Maharaj, has donated land to your father out of friendship and out of kindness. That's why you have become a prince. Otherwise, the royal insignia is ours. We have donated to your father. And you are a prince of a borrowed material. And like that, they will keep on arguing. And suddenly Krishna will lift the stick and break the pot of Radharani's head. So the pot which is fallen down here is the pot which is broken from Radharani's head. And as soon as the pot falls, the butter falls. And Brahma, the mountain is Brahma. So Brahma is melting in ecstasy watching these beautiful pastimes. So Krishna immediately starts licking. All the coward boys start licking the butter. So you have handprints out there. Krishna's handprints of eating butter. The particular Shila is also very smooth, oily, and buttery. Today also, two things are there. The Shila where the pot fell, it is white in color, whitish in color amongst the dark color stone, and is very, very slippery in nature. Today also you can see. And there are some handprints of Krishna because he ate butter over here. So to this place we will offer our pranams. Dadibhajan shirshastha gopikaha krishna runditaha tasam gama gamau sthanau tabhyam nitya namaskaret. See, tasam gama gamau sthanau. At this place, gopis keep continuously going up and down. Huh? So gopis are trying to walk with the pots of yogurts on their head. Krishna has stopped them. Gopikaha Krishna Runditaha. So in such a beautiful place where gopis are continuously going up and down, we want to offer our pranam, Nitya Namaskarit. We want to continuously offer our pranams to this place where gopis are carrying butter pots on their heart. Every day they are arguing. From there we go, we walk ahead and come to Ghevarban. Now I'll show you the greenery, the real beauty of Ghevarban. This is how the real actual Ghevarban is. Each and every plant is planted by Radharani. Each tree is planted by her. Every single twig is watered by her, nurtured by her with great love and affection. Because this is the most favorite, the most intimate, most secluded place of Radha Krishna's pastimes. Krishna goes ahead of time and decorates the whole forest with flowers. He makes flower bed, he makes flower garlands, he makes flower ornaments to please Radharani. And sometimes he lies on the ground and he decorates the path all the way till Sakri Kor with flowers. So that Radharani can walk on the flowers and enter. So this particular place is made in arches, you know. The whole Gavarban is archy in nature. There are many arches, and what is flowing from arches are many beautiful creepers, many beautiful creepers having flowers. They are all flowing down the arches. And what is the pastime over here in the Gavarban? Krishna is holding the beautifully decorated Radharani's hand by right hand and bringing her inside the forest, and with left hand he is lifting the creepers and making way to go inside the archy arrangements. Every time he walks ahead, he has to lift few more creepers. It's thickly flooded with creepers, with fragrant flowers, and Krishna is making way and calling Radharani to come inside. And finally, inside they go in the most private area, which is fully decorated with flowers, and then Radha Krishna meet there for overnight, and gopis are assisting them to have their pastimes. So this is the beautiful Gaivarman. Today we see this as beautiful again because Ramesh Baba and his team has fought for 46 years to preserve this. So one of the esoteric ornament of Barsana is preserved over here. And in between the Gaivarban is the Nabhi of Brahma, which is called as Radha Sarovar, or which is called as Gaivar Kund. So this place is in the center of the Gaivarban, at the bottom of Man Mandir. And you see this beautiful place, very beautiful. This looks so small, but it is very big and is extremely deep. Radharani takes bath with 64 chosen Sakhis in this pond, and the Gwalbal, the coward men, boys, they go to Morkuti because it's right above, right below the Morkuti. So they go there and they throw laddus to disturb the girls while they are taking bath. So this is the place. The photograph also is taken from Morkuti only. We are standing in Morkuti now and we are looking down. And down you see this Gaivarban forest because we can appreciate it very beautifully from there. And we can see the kund in between, and gopis are taking bath over here. So we are offering our prayers to this most intense place of Radharani's favorite place. Gehavarakhya Ramyaya Krishna Leela Vidayine Gopi Ramana Saukhyaya Banaya Cha Namo Namaha. You can see the meaning. My obeisances to you, O Gaivar Kund, O Radha Sarovar, O Gaivarban. You offer pleasure to the divine couple and gopis. Yatra Gayavarakam Nama Vanam Dvandva Manoharam Nitya Keli Vilasena Nirmitam Radhaya Swayam. O beautiful Gayavarban, O forest, you are filled with eternal loving pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Radha herself created you. This is the meaning of this verse. And you see, this place is surrounded by most auspicious, most wonderful trees like banyan tree, kadamba tree, tamal tree, audumba tree, neem tree. There are 7, 8 auspicious trees. All of them are in abundance over here around this particular and beautiful Radha Sarovar. And you can see in every eye camp that we go to Barsana, because they are our hosts. We visit them regularly. We have one meal over there also, and with that opportunity, we go and clean this whole pond, clean the steps, and we offer lamps. All the eye camp doctors, nurses, and volunteers who come there in numbers of 200 to 300 at times, and they come and put lamps, and we celebrate Deepotsav here. You can see the beautiful Deepotsav that we celebrated in 2020. In this year, the last occasion that we had before Corona was our eye camp. And we came back from eye camp and immediately there was a lockdown. But we had the fortune of performing Deepotsav here, and we sat here and we sang for a long time. Our voice was echoing around the mountain. We sang beautiful songs, offering our prayers to this beautiful place. And Radha Krishna's pastimes were narrated over here. So to this Gaivar Kund, we now offer our prayers. Devakrithartha Rupayai Sri Radha Sarase Namaha Railokya Pada Mokshaya Ramya Tirthaya Te Namaha. Great demigods feel themselves fortunate and satisfied just by coming here. Kritartha, they feel Kritartha is not to be translated as satisfied, but they feel fulfilled. They fulfilled at heart by coming over here. O Kunda, you have power to purify the three worlds. Trailokya Padaram Mokshaya. Ramyaya Tirthaya Te Namaha. I offer my obeisances to you, which is pleasing Radha and Krishna to a large extent. At this place, at the bank of this beautiful kund, there is an arrangement like this on the top step. And this is where Madhumangal was worshipped by gopis. Madhumangal was before caught by gopis, and then Madhumangal cried. Krishna came and rescued him. And because he's a Brahmin boy, all the gopis worshipped him at this place, in this Singhasan. They offered him laddus. And after offering, before worshipping him, they were beating him because they had caught him stealing butter. So he was saying that, I curse you that you will get married with an old man having 7 co-wives. So they were scared, because they were simple hearted. So they said, okay, we are very sorry. What should we do? He said, go and bring laddus for me. So they made him sit here, offered laddus here, offered arati, offered praises. And he was very pleased. And he said, now I bless you that you will get a husband whom you like very much. आपके दिल में जो है वही पति आपको प्राप्त हो जाएगा. That's what the blessing he gave. This is the place where he was seated by the gopis and worshipped. So we go ahead from here. Now we are right inside the forest in Chiksoli village. From there we come all the way out and we come to another holy place called Pili Pokhar. This is one of the most important place in Barsana. Why Pili Pokhar is also called as Priya Kund. And Priya Kund is Radharani's favorite place. It is her father's kund actually, also named after her. She takes bath here every day. Kirti Mai, her mother would bring her when she was a small child. She would apply Uptan, the herbal paste, and she gives bath to Radharani in this pond. So this pond is Radharani's Charanamrita actually. You can see who is standing at the bank of the pond. You can see very carefully. His Holiness Radhana Swami is standing at the bank of this kunda. And you can see a beautiful temple. I'll show you the temple also closely. First, see the beauty of this kunda. It's very, very beautifully made from all sides. There are many, many holy trees. It is also special for Pilu trees. That's why also it is called as Pili Pokhar, because Pilu trees are very dear to Radharani and it's all in abundance over here. You can see this is Kadamba tree. Generally, we sit here and do our pravachan in our iCamp visits. And Radharani took bath here applying Uptan. Then Radharani washed her hands of yellow pigment over here. I'll tell the story to you. Krishna came to the kund, took bath over here. And Narad Muni comes to meet Radharani here. Let us start narrating the stories. Radharani was taken by Yashoda Mai to her house because at the bank of Ghevar Kund, she was blessed by Durvasa Muni. Durvasa Muni blessed her that whatever you will cook will be more nectarian, more tasty than nectar also. Amrut se bhi adhik swadisht hoga. And whoever will eat that food cooked by you will get free from all diseases. And that person will be always victorious in life. So 3 benedictions were received by Radharani at the banks of Ghevar Kund. And then that news went to Yashoda. So Yashoda convinced Kirtida, and Radharani started going every day up and down Nandagaon. Radharani was given a special well dug by arrangement of Yashoda Mai at the banks of Pawan Sarovar. This special well was dug so that sweet water will be available for Radharani's cooking for Krishna. Vrishabhanu Maharaj made a big palace for Radharani to relax in between. Yashoda Mai built a small forest for her called Radha Bagh so that she can rest after cooking for Krishna. Many things happened. And then one day she embraced Radharani with great love and applied turmeric powder to her. That means in our village culture, engagement. That means you engage your son with that girl on whose hands, on whose palms you apply turmeric paste. And she again embraced and she bathed Radharani with her tears of love and her motherly affection. Radharani was so happy and so shy at the same time. She understood the meaning behind this activity done in ecstasy, done in the height of emotions. That evening, Radharani went back home. On the way, she was in ecstasy, almost flying in the sky in ecstasy. But when she reached Barsana, they all came to their senses, Lalita, Vishakha, Radharani. What would we tell our mother and father? What would we tell Vrishabhanu and Kirtida Maya? What would they understand? I have sent you only for cooking. You have done the engagement and you came. Is that our culture? They were very scared. And then what happened? The gopis told, Lalita told Radharani, don't worry, you wash your hands in your father's pond. Very nicely, we'll help you to wash your hands off the turmeric and we'll not tell anybody, only we know, nobody knows. So nobody will be telling anything. We'll go back home quietly. Radharani washed her hands and everybody went quietly back home. Next morning, everybody came here to do their morning duties and they saw the transparent water had become yellow. So they, being very clever Brijvasis, they weaved a nice story that Radharani must be going every day. Yashoda Mai must have got overwhelmed with love and emotion. She must have applied turmeric. Radharani must have felt very embarrassed after reaching over here. And she must have washed hands. But in conclusion, they understood that Radharani is now engaged with Krishna. So all of them went running to the palace and said, Oh, Brishabhanu Maharaj, oh, Brishabhanu Maharaj, we heard the good news that your daughter is engaged with Krishna now. She's engaged with Sham Sundarji. I'm so happy to hear the news. And Brishabhanu Maharaj did not know anything. Kirtida Mata did not know anything. This is what usually happens. The girl and boy are in love and whole the town knows except the mother and father of the girl. Except the girl and mother and father of the girl and also the boy. Whole the town, whole the nation knows. So Vrishabhanu Maharaj and Kirtida just looked at Radharani with a question mark on their face. Radharani did not say anything. She just put her head down. That means she accepted. And instead of getting angry or upset, Kirtimai, Radharani and Vrishabhanu Maharaj became very happy. So in acceptance of the activity done by Yashoda, they opened the treasury of pearls and they sent 100,000 pearl garlands, having many, many pearls on each garland. They sent as a shagun, as an auspicious gift to the family of the bridegroom of Radharani. It is said that each pearl was worthy of 1 million gold coins, each pearl. And such many pearls on one garland and 100,000 such garlands studded on a bullock cart was sent to Nandagaon. And then in return, another pearls came from Krishna, which Krishna grew up. Krishna grew those pearls in the field called Motikund. And Radharani then planted those pearls in Ratnakunda in Dabara village and grew up diamonds out of the pearls given by Krishna. The next story is, after 2 days, Krishna came here because he cannot stay for longer time in Nandagaon alone. So he keeps coming regularly here. But every day he sees this pond is very clear, crystal clear water. And today he saw that, oh, this pond has become yellow in color. He started wondering what happened. And then he started asking question loudly by his mouth, what is the yellow substance? What is the yellow substance? What is the yellow substance? And while saying this, he entered the water. And you can see very, very clearly, very intently, whatever part of his body is inside the water has already become yellow. What is out of the water is yet to become yellow and is still blue. You can see his hands have gone in the water, his legs have gone in the water, and they have turned yellow. And he's also getting in the water. And then one point of time, hearing his loud question, what is the yellow substance? All the Brajbasis came. And when they came, they saw a unique picture on the surface of this water pond called Pili Pokhar. two palms like this on the surface of the water and one peacock feather in between. These three things were moving all over the surface of the pond, and the question was getting resounded in the atmosphere, what is the yellow substance? After some time, the question kept on resounding, and the person came out, and the person was fully in golden yellow color. And not only his body had transformed, but he also was transformed totally. He started asking, where is Krishna? I want to meet Krishna, my dear Sham Sundar. Where is my dear Sham Sundar? So all the coward boys who were uh, traveling with him, who had come with him over here, they started wondering what to do now. If I start asking, where is Vishwarup Das? Where is Vishwarup Das? People will get puzzled. There's something called as identity crisis. Huh? So coward boys were very, very upset, extremely upset. They were thinking, what will we tell Mother Yashoda? He was all right when we left from Nandagaon. And now he's asking, where is Sham Sundar? Where is Sham Sundar? So it is explained that for the whole day that day, Krishna was in that trance. He has assumed Radharani's bhav. He had become Radharani in consciousness and he was hankering for Krishna. Where is Sham Sundar? Where is Sham Sundar? The boys couldn't answer because they were also puzzled and bewildered. So Krishna started asking the trees and the creepers and the flowers and the birds and the Vanya Devata, Gramya Devata, everybody, where is my dear Krishna? Where is my dear Sham Sundar? Where is Kanha? And in the evening he came back to his senses. And because of this unique experience of Radha Bhav, he was quite exhausted by evening. And coward boys were relieved of the anxiety. And they went home and Krishna immediately went to sleep. Nobody discussed anything what happened that day. So His Holiness Barsana Swami, who stays in New Vrindavan, West Virginia, USA, he has told that this is the first time Krishna indicated that he will be coming in the incarnation of Gauranga Mahaprabhu, next time in Kali Yuga. This is the first place. This is the place where Lord Shiva came to have darshan of baby Radha, as he also came in Nandagaon to have darshan of baby Krishna. So when he came here as baby, Lord Shiva to see baby Radha, Radharani blessed him. He was very pleased. Shiva was very pleased and Radharani requested him, you please stay here only. So he resided in this temple. Today also we can go and take darshan. His name is Priyeshwar Mahadev. Priya means Radharani and one who worshipped Priya Devi, it is Radharani. She stays here. Very beautiful temple, Priyeshwar Mahadev. Narad Muni came here also to see baby Radha. He had come at the time of birth of Radharani. That time she was just born, just very small baby in the cradle. And because of his arrangement, Krishna came and touched her and she opened her eyes and started making noise beautifully. Narad Muni came again when she grew up a little bit and came to Barsana to see her baby form. And he was like a sadhu. And Radharani was having a lot of dry fruits in her house and her hands, dry fruits in her hand, and she was playing with her girlfriends. And suddenly Narad Muni came and with big eyes, mesmerized by looking at the beauty of Radharani, he was watching without blinking. And Radharani got really scared because of big eyes of this sadhu. And she went running in the lap of Mother Kirtida and said, Mother, look at this sadhu. He has got big eyes. He's watching me. I'm scared of him. And while running away from him, she handed over all the dry fruits in Narad Muni's hands to just get away from him. So Narad Muni received this dry fruit prasadam, meva prasadam. And Narad Muni was very much happy. And then Kirti Mai, she went in the lap of Kirti Mai, embraced Kirti Mai and says, Mother, I'm scared. So Kirti Mai said, Arey, don't get scared of this Baba. This Baba is very auspicious. He had come when you were born. Because of him only you opened your eyes. He had only tied up holy thread on your arm. Please, he's not to be scared for. So then still she was embracing Kirti Mai on her chest and hidingly watching Narad Muni. This is the place, Pilipokhar, where the messenger came from Krishna, from Nandagaon, to invite Radharani and gopis for Holi. That is called Pandelila. Pandey is a Brahmin messenger who comes at this particular place to give message, and there the gopis drench him with color. And then Radharani takes him home and Kirti Mai feeds laddu in his mouth, and that is today celebrated as Laddu Holi. The Brahmin person who comes to invite, Kirti Maiya feeds laddu in his mouth. So in the same mood, the Barsana Vasis receive the invitations from Brahminical people on the day prior to Holi, and Barsana people feed them laddus. That is called Laddu Holi, Laddu Mar Holi. And the next day, Krishna comes and then they play Holi. The Holi festival begins at this place called Pili Pokhar. This place is called Pili Pokhar because it be turned yellow because of Radharani's washing hands. And at the bank of this place only, Krishna comes with his full team and Radharani comes with her team and they play Holi here. And then Krishna gets defeated. Then they put kajal on Krishna's face and there are so many beautiful pastimes. This also, Pili Pokhar also is a place where Krishna loves to perform boating pastimes. And Ramesh Babaji and his team, they actually excavated this whole kunda, cleaned the kunda, and after 300 years of gap, just last year the boating pastimes again began at this pond called Pili Pokhar. So this pond is filled with unlimited pastimes. On the Vamana Dwadashi day, they perform boating pastimes in this pond. They decorate the pond very beautifully. And we also, once in a year when we go to ICAM, we one day come here, clean the whole pond, put lamps, light the lamps and do katha and kirtan in the middle of the night here. This is the picture of Rangili Holi, which we attended. Very beautiful place. And this is the Lathamar Holi that takes place. These ladies of Barsana, they beat with sticks to the men of Nandagaon. This is Lathamar Holi that takes place on the next day of the Holi. Very beautiful place, and Barsana is famous for its Holi. Very many beautiful pastimes of Holi. But the essence of Holi festival is Krishna comes here in preparedness, fully prepared to get defeated. Because on getting defeated, the defeated party has to give gift to the winning party. So Krishna comes with boxes full with ornaments and food items and clothing items and every precious item he comes with that. That is called as Fagua. The Fagua is the thing that you have to give to the winning party. So Krishna and all the coward boys, they give that Fagua to all the gopis and touch their feet and take their blessings. This is the beautiful Holi. And now we go to the next place called Bhanukhar. This Bhanukhar is also one of the many ponds, Khirak, of Brishbhanu Maharaj. It is also known as Brishbhanu Kund. And you can see that structure in front of, in the water, that is called Jal Mahal. That is built in the water itself. You sit on the top of the water inside the palace and you have cool breeze in the summer times. So this is the favorite kund of Radharani. Here also with her chosen girlfriend, she takes bath. Private kund. Next to this kund is her mother's kund called Kirtida Kund. You can see in the photograph is all very small, but this is almost 4 acres of land. In the 4-acre area, this whole pond is made. And you can imagine how beautiful it must have been when Krishna was here, Radharani was here. Now, where we stand here, we can see, where we stand here, we are on this particular side, and there's another side here. This side is towards Nandagaon, and this is the side from Barsana. From Barsana, we are entering here, and this is Nandagaon side. So from here, Krishna comes here. So one time, Radharani taking bath, Krishna comes here, and he starts inquiring, who's this girl taking bath here? So instead of answering straight, Lalita gets angry with him, starts scolding him. You guys from Nandagaon, you have no culture. What business you have to ask who this girl is, what it is, how it concerns you? Get out from here. For no reason, she starts shouting, and then Radharani doesn't like it. Give me 1 minute. Huh? So when Lalita shouts at Krishna without any reason, she leaves them. Said, you guys, you girls are not good. You didn't have to shout at him. He was just asking simple question. You could have told she's daughter of Brishbhanu Maharaj. I'm upset with you. So she left, took her 2, 3 girlfriends and went away. And they started taking bath in different area, in different place in the big pond. Looking at this situation, Radharani separating from that group and going away, Krishna immediately dived deep in the water, underwater. He went underwater and touched Radharani's feet. Radharani was immediately, startled. Who is touching my feet? And suddenly he came up, zoom, and they were all surprised. Before they settled from the surprise, he went down again underwater and disappeared. So this small, beautiful pastime took place here. Krishna touched Radharani's feet underwater here. Another pastime took place, that is, Kamsa came here to search for Krishna and Balaram to kill. And Radharani was taking bath here that time. Radharani saw Kamsa on black horse. And Radharani, just by her desire, scolded Kamsa. And with that scolding, Kamsa became a woman here. And the horse also became she horse. So Kamsa became Kamsani Gopi. And all the gopis started calling Kamsa as Motalli Gopi, the fat Gopi. Huh? All the gopis started teasing Kamsa because he was such a big warrior, such a big chivalrous warrior. He's a big Digvijay king, So Kamsa, so embarrassed, he could not dare to go back in Mathura. He could not go back to Mathura because what people will think, Arey, our king has become a woman. And he was so embarrassed here because gopis were clapping and making fun of him. Motalli Gopi, do some work to become thin. You have become so fat. And then for 6 whole months, the gopis made him make cow dung cakes, clean the goshala, churn the butter, and carry the cow dung cakes, store them, all kinds of work which they were doing, simple menial work, King Kamsa in the form of a gopi had to do. And finally, after 6 months, then Radharani forgave him by the request of her father Vishbhanu. And that time they were in Kishori Kund at Jawat. And he said, jump in the water, you'll get the male body again. And he and his horse both jumped in the water, and the she horse became he horse. And Kansani Gopi became Kamsa. And then Krishna, the Kamsa, ran all the way from Jawat, Kishori Kund, all the way to Mathura. Before he didn't even turn back and see what she would do, because he was worried if she changes her mind, then she would make him permanently a lady. Because she had warned him, I am releasing you now. If you ever come here again, or if ever your men come here again, then you will become permanently a woman. So this also pastime took place over here. The lesson to learn from this story is the gopis in that gopi bhav, in the sakhi bhav, were happily cleaning the goshala, happily making the cow dung cakes, happily churning butter, happily singing songs, and so blissful doing the activities. And Kamsa had the fortune, without being qualified, he had the fortune of becoming instantly a gopi. Actually, he had attained Param Siddhi instantly, even though not desiring. But he was crying and crying and crying, millions of tears, repenting why he came here. And he was doing all the work which gopis were doing in blissful activity. And he was crying and crying and crying. So the lesson to learn is, even if you get the highest benediction and highest blessings, if your consciousness is not rightly situated, you will not receive the benefit of that benediction. He received the benediction of becoming a gopi, the ultimate position. But because his consciousness was not favorable to bhakti, to devotion to Radha and Krishna, although having received the highest blessings, he was simply repenting and crying. Let us pray here that, O Radharani, O Krishna, please bestow upon us the right consciousness, which is favorable to your devotional service. Please pray here, because sometimes inconceivably, causelessly, some highest blessing come upon us. But because we are not ready, our consciousness is not ready to receive, that blessing may turn as curse to us. Like the blessing of becoming a gopi was like a curse to Kamsa because of his unfavorable, ill consciousness. Let us not get diseased with ill consciousness. Let us get blessed with the pure devotional consciousness. Hare Krishna. So behold the other banks of this beautiful kunda, and we offer our pranams to this kund. Nirdhuta kilbishayaiva goparaja kritayate Vrishabhanu Maharaja kritaya sarase namaha. O Bhanukhar, O Vrishabhanu Kund, our Vrishabhanu Maharaj himself created you. You wash away, huh? Nirdhuta kilbishayaiva. That means all the accumulated sins, kilmish, is washed away by taking bath in this kund. We offer our pranams to this beautiful kund called Bhanukhar. From there we come to a beautiful place very close by. Many people take pran or many people take a vow that they take bath in Bhanukhar, pick up water in one lota and come all the way to this place called Brajeshwar Mahadev, which is about 2-3 kilometers walking distance from here. I have walked here many, many times. And this is in deep forest and absolute seclusion. There is nobody here. But this is a very beautiful place. That's why we have to visit this place. So after visiting Bhanukhar, and then we walk all the way here in the forest and in the field, become closer. And this is the place of Vrishabhanu Maharaj's tapasya. He performed his tapasya over here. And Lord Shiva is called Brajeshwar Mahadev. Please have darshan of Brajeshwar Mahadev. This is the place where Vrishabhanu Maharaj had performed tapasya and he has worshipped Brajeshwar Mahadev. You can see the beautiful darshan of Brajeshwar Mahadev. And we had gone in the month of Kartik, so we offered lamps to Brajeshwar Mahadev. And the story behind this place is like this. One story is, of course, I told you that Vrishabhanu Maharaj worshipped Brajeshwar Mahadev, performed his tapasya over here. And this place falls in the forest called Padarwan. And around 50 years back, this farmer who has this land, he was plowing the field, and every time at the one place, his plow would get stuck. Finally, he wanted to see what is there. Why my plow every time gets stuck over here? So he found a Shivlinga there. So he thought, oh, maybe it's very auspicious Shivlinga. I should take it out and put it somewhere in a very beautiful place so people can take darshan and get blessings. So he started digging the whole thing. But as he went on digging and digging and digging, he found the Shivlinga was more and more and more deep in the ground. So time came, sunset, so he went to take rest. He took rest. He got a dream and Brajeshwar Mahadev himself appeared to him in the dream. And he told that this is the place where I perform pastime with Vrishabhanu Maharaj. Please don't dig any further. If you dig all the way till Patal Loka, you will not find my end. So give up the effort of digging and keep me here only. I don't want to leave this place where I perform pastimes with Vrishabhanu Maharaj. So that particular farmer made the temple of Brajeshwar Mahadev here only, in the field only. Today also you see, he's in the field only, here only, right in the middle of the field. Very auspicious place. And this particular Shivlinga is supposed to be as deep as Patal Loka from earth. And in Padarwan pastime is that Krishna played flute here. Because of flute, some rains came. Because of rains, peacocks came. They started dancing, and because of peacock dancing, more rains came, and it drenched Krishna, drenched Krishna's pitambar. The flute became wet, and the gopis came there to see the beautiful sight, Krishna playing flute in the rains and peacock dancing. And they said one beautiful line. Gopis said, look, look, the flute is so fortunate, huh, that it has become wet. Still it is blowing beautiful sound. Still it is playing beautiful sounds. It is not ready to give up the nectar of the lips of Krishna. It is stuck to the nectar of Krishna's lips. How fortunate the flute is, that all the time it is stuck to the nectarian lips of Krishna. Also, the next to Padarwan is a forest called Rabadwan, where the gopis very lovingly fed rabdi to Krishna. That is called Rabadwan. So we offer our pranams to Brajeshwar Mahadev, to Rabadwan, to Padarwan. Padarwan is also famous for Radharani and her friends coming to pluck flowers for Sanji Leela. during Pitru Paksh to decorate the Sanji. They will come and pluck flowers from here. So by offering our obeisances, Brajeshwarayate Tubhyam Maharudrayate Namaha Prajaukasam Shivarthaya Namaste Shivarupine. O Brajeshwar Mahadev, my obeisances unto you. You are very auspicious to all the Brajvasis. Let us offer our prayers to Brajeshwar Mahadev, remembering the beautiful pastimes having taken place here. We move further and we come to a place called Prem Sarovar. Now, Prem Sarovar is in the forest called Prem 1. And without visiting Prem Sarovar, one cannot complete the darshan of Barsana Dham. And the unique feature of this Prem Sarovar is that this Prem Sarovar was created later on. But before that, the Prem 1 forest is a place where Sri Krishna and Radharani met for the first time. Of course, they met first when Radharani was born. You all know the story that when Radharani was born, she was blind, deaf and dumb. And Narad Muni came there. Just a moment. Narad Muni came there and he arranged for a big festival, and the festival Krishna Balaram came. And Krishna touched Radharani and Radharani opened her eyes. So there was a first ever meeting, but they were very, very small babies. Krishna was toddler, crawling baby. Radharani was in the cradle. After some time, you know that Vrishabhanu Maharaj and Nanda Maharaj, they left Gokul and Raval and they came back to Barsana and Nandagaon and they settled down there. So in Barsana and Nandagaon, the first ever meeting took place in this forest. How? Radharani and Gopis were playing blindfolding game, Aankh Micholi. One Gopi would be tied blindfold and then everybody else will go and hide. And then if she catches somebody, then that person will blindfold, others will hide. So one Gopi was blindfolded and all Lalita, Vishakha, Radharani, they all went to hide. Radharani came to hide in Prem 1. And it was very thick forest. It was very dark inside. Very, very, very thick forest. So she came to hide in the thick forest. And suddenly when she entered the thick forest, she saw a blue boy. Blue boy wearing peacock feather, having flute in the hand, who had come from Nandagaon. He had heard about this beautiful girl in Barsana, so he had come searching for her. And suddenly they bumped in each other. And as soon as this blue boy saw Radharani, who is of course Nandan, Sri Krishna, he fainted. He went in ecstasy of love. The kind of love they felt for each other was unbelievable. And he fainted and he fell unconscious there. And Radharani was playing the game of hide and seek, blindfold. So she wanted to go and rescue, wanted to save and help this unconscious boy. And she went close to him to somehow help him out to come out of his unconsciousness. Suddenly Lalita called, "Oh Radharani, come. We have already caught some girl. So she has to be, other girl has to be blindfolded. Come out. One round is over. Come out. So she was in two minds, whether to save this boy or whether to respond to the call of Lalita. But somehow because of repeated calls of Lalita, she had to go and she went, leaving this blue boy unconscious in Prem 1. And when she went away, she became so sad that she didn't play further. She just went home. And from that day, she stopped eating, stopped sleeping, stopped talking, stopped playing, everything. She was only crying, feeling sorry that that beautiful boy whom she felt so much love for, he was unconscious. She left him there and she went away. She could have helped him. Here in the forest, the blue boy, Nandanandan Krishna, came back to consciousness after some time. And then what happened? He did not see the beautiful girl. So he felt so sorry and so morose that where is that girl? His heart was beating with so much of love and separation. and he very sadly went back home. And he also stopped playing with his friends. He stopped eating butter, stopped going out, stopped talking to anybody, only lying in the bed and crying the whole day. Mother was very upset. Nanda Baba, Yashoda Bai were very upset. What happened to Lala? He's not eating butter, he's not sleeping, he's not talking, he's not playing. And here Kirti Mata was very upset because Radharani was not playing, talking, eating, anything. So she called Lalita and said, Lalita, please see, my Lali is not talking. So Lalita said, I would like to meet her in person. To ask her the reason she may not open up in public. So Lalita went in person alone in the forest, in the palace, and she asked, "What happened, Radharani? Why are you crying?" So she told very shyly that she had that particular day when they were playing Akmicholi, hide and seek. She saw a beautiful blue boy in the thick forest, and in the darkness, the boy had fainted and she could not help him. You called, so I had to come back, but I'm very sorry. I could not help the boy. I'm feeling very sorry. So she asked this description. So Radharan described how that boy was looking. So Lalita said, "No worry, I know this boy. I will find him out and I will make him meet you." So she went all the way to Nandagaon. And as soon as Yashoda Mai saw Lalita, she was very happy. She called, Lalita, Lalita, please come, please come. I need you. I need your help. She said, my son is very upset since many days. He's not telling any reason why he's upset. And he's not eating butter, he's not playing, he's only crying and crying. So she said, already she had heard the half story. So she said, I need some private time with this boy. I will have to meet him alone. She said, do whatever you feel. Absolutely no problem. Go and meet him alone. So she went in and asked him the same thing, took the whole history. He said, yes, I was in the forest. I saw the beautiful girl, the golden yellow color girl. I am enamored by her beauty and I lost her. I am so sorry. I don't want to live anymore without meeting her. So then she told Mother Yashoda, yeah, I know what is the disease of this boy. Let me go and give him bath in Lalita Kund, in my Kund. So Lalita took him away from Nandagaon, brought him to Lalita Kund, gave him bath, took him to one village called Pehnavali, and they dressed him up as a bridegroom there. That's why called Pehnavali. उनको सब दुल्हे का वस्त्र पहनाया उधर. Then from there, she brought him to a place called Kajarotha, where they put final kajal in his eyes. So, with the help of many gopis, they decorated Krishna as the bridegroom. Some gopis were sent back to Barsana to tell the good news to Radharani that we have found that boy. You get ready and beautifully and become a bride. So some girls dressed her up as beautiful bride, and uh, Kirti Mata had no objection because he wanted to see her daughter happy. So whatever it takes. So they decorated her and they took her to Premwan, to this particular place. And in this place, Lalita arranged the first meeting of Radha and Krishna. Second story, that one time in Premwan, Radha and Krishna were sitting, looking into each other's eyes, and suddenly a bumblebee came in between, and Krishna told Madhu Mangal, hey Madhu, please take the Madhu away. Because another name of bumblebee is Madhu. And even Krishna's name, one more name is Madhu. So Madhu, Krishna, told Madhu Mangala to take away the Madhu who was disturbing them in between. So Madhu Mangal came and chased the Madhu, the bumblebee, away, and told Krishna, Madhu has gone away. I have chased him away. Radharani heard that in ecstatic mood of looking into the eyes of Krishna, that Madhu has gone away. She understood it as Madhu, Krishna has gone away. So although Krishna was right in front of her eyes, she thought Krishna went away and she started crying. And when Krishna saw her crying, he also started crying. And both of them kept on crying and this pond was formed. That is called Prem Sarovar. Do not ask me how and why. When you come to Barsana, Nandagaon, Vrindavan, please keep your logic at home. Don't bring your logics to Barsana and Vrindavan, because it is all divine place of divine pastimes. What happens here is inconceivable, difficult to interpret, difficult to explain, difficult to understand. Only with faith, with the power of faith, we can appreciate the beauty of this place, where Radha Krishna performed their most esoteric, most beautiful pastime. So this pond is made of the tears of Radha and Krishna. Let us offer our pranams and let us ask for one blessing in this place, that let my tears never flow for any material loss. Let my tears always flow for you, my Lord. I don't want to shed my tears for any petty material things of material world. So let us have the darshan of this beautiful place, Prem Sarovar. Hare Krishna. And we offer prayers. Lalita Prema Sambhute Premaravya Sarase Namaha Prema Pradaya Tirthaya Kautilya Padanashaka. O Prem Sarovar, which is made out of Lalita's love, my Dandavat Pranam to you. You are the destroyer of crookedness. This is one very typical thing about this pond. It is said in scriptures that if you take bath in this pond or do achman, the kautilya, that means the crooked nature in our heart, that is called kutilta, kutil. Kutil is a very crooked nature. That crooked nature gets destroyed if one takes bath. Let us have darshan again. This particular water will free you from crooked nature. Let us all pray that, firmly pray that we don't want to shed any tear for any material things. It's not worth it. Our tears are only worthy of Krishna's love. Our tears are only to be shed for Krishna and for his love and for his separation. Hare Krishna. Then we go to another pond, which is called as Prem Vival Kund. This particular Prem Vival Kund is also formed by the tears of Radha and Krishna. But there is no same things in Vrindavan. Everything is full of variety. Even though there is, it is made of tear, the bhav is different. That bhav is something called as prema vaichitrya. Prema vaichitra means very inconceivable understanding of love. The love of Vrindavan, Nandagaon, Barsana is very difficult to understand. It's called vichitra. Vichitra means very inconceivable. So what happened here? This place is somewhere in between Barsana and Nandagaon. When we walk on the road, which is about 7 kilometers from Barsana to Nandagaon, there is a place called Sanket One. And near Sanket One, this particular pond is there. Prema Vevala Kunda. So one time on Friday, on the desire of Mother Kirtida, Radharani was told by mother to go and worship Devi on Friday. So she had carried the paraphernalia of worship and she was looking for Devi and she was searching everywhere and she could not find the Devi. Suddenly she met Krishna on the way and Krishna said, what are you doing, Radharani? So Radharani said, I am searching for a Devi. My mother wants me to worship Devi today. Today is Friday. So Krishna said, just go inside on left side. There's a beautiful forest and one Devi is there. I just had her darshan. So as simple-hearted she is, she just entered the forest in very great anxiety, curiosity, in anticipation of having darshan of a Devi and a desire to worship her getting fulfilled. So she entered the forest and searched everywhere. And she could not find any Devi. And she came out and she was, again she met with Krishna. And Krishna said, Are, did you worship Devi? So Radharani said, no, I could not find any Devi. Krishna said, I just have darshan of Devi. How you could not find? Go inside. Please go inside. Please go inside and have darshan. So then, as innocent and simple-hearted she is, again she went inside. And again, wherever she had searched before, she again searched everywhere. And she could not find any Devi. She was wondering what happened. So then, again she came out. Again Krishna was there. And Krishna said, did you worship Devi? He said, no, I didn't find any Devi. And what is this? I just had darshan of a Devi. I told you just 5 minutes back and you are not able to find. Go and find out. And third time when Radharani went inside the forest, she found Devi immediately where she had twice searched before and she had not found. But this time in the previously searched place, only she found the Devi. She was very happy. She was not debating in mind how this happened, how I could not find. She said, "Oh, I found. So let me worship now. Time is running away." So she opened her paraphernalia, lit the lamp, and offered the incense. Everything she was offering the lamp with great devotion. You can imagine Radharani offering worship to the Devi and very intently looking at the face of the Devi and offering lamp and worship and saying prayer. Suddenly the Devi blinked. Suddenly the Devi blinked. And then suddenly the Devi smiled. So Radharani was very puzzled and she came to know he is none other than Krishna who has become a Devi. So she becomes so happy, like surprisingly happy. So tears came out of her eyes. And looking tears coming out of her eyes, Krishna started shedding tears from his eyes. That is in a surprise, in a what you call achamba. Achamba means great surprise, So in that great surprising mood, both of them cried, and their tears formed this particular place called Prem Vival Kund. And that Devi is still there in the forest at the bank of this Kund, and her name is Vivala Devi. Vival means in Sanskrit or in Marathi or in Hindi, the Vival means overwhelming emotion. When somebody becomes Vival means he's overwhelmingly emotional. So both of them became Vival due to Prem. So that's why this pond is called Prema Vival Kund. Very beautiful pond, yet to be renovated nicely, but still spiritually very beautiful. We have come here many times, and fortunately, in this village of Prem Vival Kund, Sanket village, almost 80% of all old people are operated by us for cataract. So this whole village knows us very well. So whenever we go there, we are welcomed very nicely, and they are receiving us very nicely. We sit here and do katha and do sing kirtans, and they really respect us very much. So this is about 2-3 kilometers away from Barsana. Let us offer our prayers to this kund. These are very deep places, not just water reservoirs which are dirty looking. They have very divine, pure pastimes behind them. If you go further little ahead of this particular kunda, you will come across a place called Do Mil One or Do Min One or Do Man One. There are many names. Do Man One or Do Mil One or Do Min One. What is the meaning? There is Runki and Junki. There were two gopis, and they would help meet Radha and Krishna. They would help Radha and Krishna to meet at a place called Do Mil One. Jahan do milte hain, that place is called Do Mil One. So that Do Mil One has a pond also, Do Min Sarovar, where Runki and Junki would help Radha and Krishna to meet hidingly, very secretly. It's deep in the forest. There is no road also. We have to walk with great difficulty, but very beautiful place. I've been there many times and very nice place. Very good place to sit and do bhajan, to chant Hare Krishna. Further, if you go, there's a place called Purnamasi Protani Ashram. Protani means Purohitani. What they say Protani, but it actually means Purohitani. She Purohit is called Purohitani. So on the day when Vasudev had sent his pregnant wife Rohini to Nanda Maharaj, that particular day, same day, Purnamasi, who is Bhavani's avatar, Parvati avatar, she came to Nandagaon. And that time Nanda Baba was very impressed with her because she was a great tapaswini. She was the elder sister of Sandipani Muni. She was a widow, and she had a son of her step co-wife, that is called Madhumangal, and both of them were residing in Kashi performing tapasya. At the right time she entered Braj Leela. So looking at her Tej, Nanda Baba was very impressed, and Nanda Baba made a hut for her. That is called Purnamasi Rohitani Ashram. That is just next to Domin 1. So now I will show you some pictures, because I told you that Radhanath Maharaj had desire to serve in Basana. So we had started our iCamp. Some pictures of iCamp I'd like to show you. All the Brijbasis from all walks of life, they come here, they get operated. This is a photograph from 2019 camp. And we operate about 1100, 1200 patients every year in the camp. And remaining to make it completed to 4,000, we operate throughout the year. But in the camp, we operate about 1,000, 1100 sometimes. Ladies and men together. This is a photograph of land. The land is 5 acres. And the beauty of this land is wherever you stand on this land, you will get darshan of all the 5 peaks of mountain. On the rightmost side, you will see Bhanugad, Radharani's temple. Then you will see Dangad. See, Dangad is over here. This is Bhanugad, Sriji Mandir. This is Dangad, the palatial place. This is Vilasgad here. This is Morkuti here, and this is Mangad here. This picture I have taken myself. Let us repeat again. My arrow is last year now on left side. That is Mangad. This is Morkuti. This is Vilasgad. This is Dangad. And this is Radharani's Mandir. So all these 5 things are visible from each and every drop of this place. Every atom you stand, wherever you like, you will have darshan of all these places. Let's go back and have darshan of the land properly. This is the entrance where you enter inside. And this happens to be in the village of Chiksoli. Radharani's friend Chitrasakhi, she was born here, she stayed here. And a village is called Chikitsapur in Sanskrit. Her father is Dharma Bhanu and Sharda is her mother. So in her village, we have bought this land, 5 acres of land. And this is a beautiful people tree, almost 75-year-old. This is a mango tree. This is a people tree more than 100 years old. And this is the people, actual people, which is 100-year-old. This is 75-year-old. This is a 100-year-old. Very auspicious tree. And this is Chitrasakhi's temple. You see Chitrasakhi is here on the right side, on our right side. And this is Champaklata Devi here. This is Radha and Krishna. In the village of Chitrasakhi, there is a beautiful temple where they worship Chitrasakhi. And we are praying to Chitrasakhi that by your mercy, we pray that the hospital should come very fast. And the reason we are building the hospital because we have served for last 30 years there. We are very satisfied, but we are not satisfied because the need is still unlimited there. And second reason is that our next generation, our next to next generation, our 4 generations should be able to get chance to serve the Brijbasis and receive the blessings of Radharani. So it's not enough that we are happy and we will go away from this world, but we should create a platform where all these simple devotees from Mumbai and other places, America, England, Europe, Eastern side, all of them can come and spend some time serving Brijbasis in a selfless mood, without any motivation, with humble heart and receive the blessings of Radharani. That's why we are begging Chitrasakhi to bless us to be able to complete the hospital within no time so that we can start serving. We can multiply our services 4 times from 4,000 to 17,500 operations we can do per year if the place is completely made. If the place is half made, then we can do about 8,000 to 10,000 surgeries per year. If it's fully made, we can do 17,000 surgeries. So let us speak about few words of Chitrasakhi because Chitrasakhi is very important for us because we are going in her village and the glorification of Chitrasakhi is important. Chitrasakhi is a very unique gopi. She has been hosting us right from the day 1 we went to Barsana because we stayed in her village only. 1986 onwards, every time we were hosted by the Brijbasis in her village only in the first iCamp. So we have a connection with her right from 1986, almost 34 years now. And she is the daughter of Dharma Bhanu and Sharada Devi. Dharma Bhanu is a big astrologer and big Dharmagya Pandit. So she also happens to be very learned. She is a palmist. She is also astrologer. She is very expert in the language of birds. She speaks the language of birds. She communicates with trees. She is expert in maintaining the trees for performing pastimes of Radha and Krishna. And She maintains the Gavarban forest trees also, and at times she sings for Radharani. She is a very dear associate of Radharani. I remember one story. I'll tell you in 5 minutes. She also is a very expert in painting pictures, in drawing pictures. She's a very expert Chitrakar. That's why her name is Chitralekha or Chitra Gopi. So one time what happened, the friend of Krishna, Sri Dama, the best friend of Krishna, he came crying to Krishna and he said, Krishna, every day when it becomes day, I'm very happy because I'm going to meet you and I'm going to be with you for the whole day, herding cows and playing with you. But when it becomes sunset, I become very upset and I cannot manage myself throughout the night. Night is killing for me. I will die one day remembering you in your separation in the night time. So to pacify myself, I will at least request you to give me your picture, give me a photo. So Krishna was very sad to see this plight of his friend. So he went to his mother Yashoda and he told, Mother, my friend Sridama is very much in agony and he's requesting me for a picture of mine. So Yashoda was a little bit in a joking mood. She said, Oh, your picture. Oh, what is the big thing about your picture? Take a paper, take a brush, take black color, put one or two strokes. That's your picture. What is there so big about your picture? So Krishna was very upset. He said, Krishna, mother, I'm very serious. My friend is dying and you're making jokes out of my black color. Then Krishna, then Radha, Yashodamai understood that it's not a joke. He is very serious about it. So she immediately called Chitra Sakhi, called for her, and she got a call. So she went running to Nandagaon. She was so happy that Mother Yashoda is calling me today for some special service. How fortunate. So she told in short the story that I need a picture of Krishna because Sidama wants it. So she went back very happily, immediately gathered the material and started thinking that okay, let me fix my mind on one particular form of Krishna because a painter needs a fixed person. No, if suppose I want to draw a picture of Adi Gadadhar Prabhu, and I will tell him that you sit particular posture and don't move, okay, till I complete your picture. So I need a fixed posture. I cannot have Adi Gadadhar Prabhu dancing, running around, talking to his wife and eating food and all. Then I cannot draw a particular posture, particular picture. And Krishna was not there. So she had to depend on her mind, her memory. So she closed her eyes and she started thinking, I will fix my mind on one particular posture of Krishna. Lo and behold, hundreds and thousands of different postures and different facial expressions started appearing and pouring in her heart. So she was wondering, what do I do? Which one I should focus? Because they were all flashing one after another and not a single one with fixed posture, fixed gesture was getting fixed in her heart. So she was very upset. She said, Mother Yashoda called me for seva. How fortunate I am. And here I am. I'm unable to even fix my mind on one particular facial expression of Krishna. How do I complete my service? So she met her friends and told her plight. How unfortunate I am. I am not able to draw a picture because I can't fix up one facial expression of Krishna in my heart. So the gopis said very significant thing to her. Gopis said, did you go to Radharani and take her blessings to do this service to Yashoda? Oh, I was so ecstatic and so highly emotional. I forgot to do this important thing. Thank you for reminding me. So she went to Radharani and told the whole story in short that how I am blessed. Please, you bless me now. Please bless me so that I can do this service to Mother Yashoda and to Krishna. Radharani said, I bless you. And as soon as Radharani blessed, immediately one and only one particular posture and mudra fixed in her heart. And she immediately drew a picture of Krishna and ran with that picture to Nandagaon, gave it to Mother Yashoda, who gave it to Krishna, who gave it to Sridama. And Sridama received the picture of Krishna, which he would gaze in the whole night every day. And somehow, to some extent, pacify himself to keep his body and soul together till the next morning. He was not fully pacified, but somehow he could manage himself, to keep alive. So this is what is Barsana all about. So to this wonderful Chitra Sakhi who is dedicated to serve, we are offering our prayers. And we learn a lesson from this story that whatever seva we may be doing, greatest of all seva, do not forget to take blessings of Radharani. If you are trying to serve Krishna, you cannot serve Krishna without receiving permission and blessing and Ashirvad of Radharani. If you miss this step, then you will not be able to do your seva. Because the whole rights, copyrights of all the sevas is with Radharani. She is the emblem. She is the queen of all service to Krishna. So all the service to Krishna is coming through her. All the devotion for Krishna is coming through her. All the love for Krishna is coming through her. She is the source of all love, seva, all ecstasy, everything. She is the very means. Without her, Krishna is incomplete. Radha bin Krishna Adha. Krishna is incomplete because of without her. Krishna becomes complete with her. Krishna receives effulgence. Krishna becomes effulgent because of Radharani. When Krishna is with Radharani, he looks effulgent. When he goes away from Krishna, Radharani, Krishna becomes nistej. He loses his effulgence for two reasons. Because Radha is no more with him to give effulgence, and now he is sad because of being away from Radharani. So he is anyway sad, so he loses his effulgence. One last story I want to tell, what is important for all of us, Ashwatthama is a long story, how he killed Draupadi's 5 children in sleeping condition by creating chaos in the night, thinking that I am killing Pandavas. By mistake, he killed 5 sons of Pandavas. And then in the morning, they came to know, all the Pandavas, that their sons were killed by Ashwatthama. So Krishna put Bhima, Arjuna and Bhima on chariot, and as a charioteer, he drove the running Ashwatthama. Because Ashwatthama came to know that Krishna is running along with Arjuna and Bhima, so no question of survival. So he was running very fast on his chariot, and Krishna was running behind him with fast chariot, and then finally they caught him. Finally, he jumped out of his chariot because Ashwatthama's horse started foaming at the mouth. So he jumped out of the chariot, and Krishna also jumped out of chariot and started running on the foot, and they caught hold of Ashwatthama. And Krishna dragged him, they both arrested him, and they dragged him all the way to Draupadi, who was crying along with the 5 dead bodies of her sons. You can imagine the scene, you can imagine the emotion, how high the emotions must be. Anger, sadness, pain in the heights. So Arjuna said, "Here, Draupadi, we have got the culprit. Please tell us, how do we treat him? How should we punish him?" So they were expecting that either she will tell, cut off his head, or shoot an arrow to him to kill him, or burn him with Agni Astra, whatever. They were expecting such kind of response. But she gave a very surprising response. She said, "Please let him go free." They were surprised. They said, "Why? He should be killed. He should be punished. He has killed your 5 sons. Don't you know that?" She said, "I have gone through, right now I am going through the pain of losing my own sons. As a mother, I can understand how painful it is to lose one's own son. I have lost 5 sons, but because I had 5 sons, I have many more sons also. But our Guru Mata has only one son, that is Ashwatthama. And Guru Mata is worshipable for us. And Guru Mata has lost her husband. Our Guru Dev is killed in the war. So Guru Mata has only one shelter, that is Ashwatthama. And if we kill him, how much pain we will give. So there's no need to have her to have the pain that I am going through. Let her be free from that pain. I can choose to not to give that pain to her. Let him go free." But Krishna was very upset. Krishna said, "Okay, if Draupadi is not ordering to kill him, I curse him." So Krishna plucked that jewel from his forehead, which was the glory of Ashwatthama. He plucked that and it started bleeding like anything. And Krishna cursed him that this wound will keep bleeding and bleeding and bleeding, and no medicine will stop the bleeding. And it will pain and pain and pain, and nothing will stop the pain. And with this bleeding and uncontrollable pain, uncontrollable, unbearable pain, you will not even die. You will feel like dying. So much pain will be there. But you will not even die. You will live forever with this pain. Go get lost from here. In the history of mankind, in the history of creation, the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna has never cursed anybody like this. This is a worst curse that Krishna had given. How angry Krishna must be, you can imagine. And then Ashwatthama went crying and crying and crying in pain, suffering, suffering and suffering, went to Brahma. Please forgive me. Brahma said, get lost. You are a fool number one. Nobody can save you. He went to Shiva. Shiva said, my boss has cursed you. Nobody can do anything for you. Sorry, please go away. But Brahma said that there is one very vague option I've got for you. May or may not work, but there's no harm in trying. But by the time crying and crying and crying, he was enough repentful. He was enough repentant. So looking at his repentful mood, Brahma also felt sorry and he said, okay, you can try, but I'm not able to give guarantee to you because Krishna's curse, who has got power to transgress. But you can go to Barsana. You can go to Barsana and call out Radharani's name. If she is pleased with you, then you may be relieved of your pain and you may be blessed by her. So Ashwatthama went to Barsana. And there's a village near Barsana called Pipasavan. Today it is called Pisaya in the local language, but the Sanskrit name of that place is called Pipasavan. Pipasa is the intense thirst. Thirst is called pyas. And Pipasa is intense thirst, unbearable thirst. So there he sat and cried for Radharani, calling her names intensely, helplessly. And then Radharani appeared there. Radharani was very pleased with him. He was so repentful. And she blessed him. She touched him. As soon as she touched him, the wound got healed, all pain disappeared. And Ashwatthama, anyway, he had purified himself, he became pure devotee on the spot. And Radharani said, where you are sitting and where you are calling me, it is my dearest forest called Pipasavan. When me and Krishna become intensely thirsty for each other, we come and meet here and we perform Ras Lila over here. At one time when I got thirsty, Krishna made a pond called Shamkund for me to give water to me. I drank the water. At one time he got thirsty, so I made one kund for him called Radha Kund and I fed water to him. So it also has Radha Kund and Shamkund. And this forest is very dear to me. You can stay here only and you can guard this forest, protect this forest. Because Ashwatthama had the, you can say, curse or a blessing to live forever, Chiranjeevi. Ashwatthama is still living over there. He was, whom Krishna had cursed, Radharani had saved. Radharani saved him. And she said, you live, so he is still living there. Those who become pure by devotion, pure-hearted souls, they get darshan of Ashwatthama even today also. So this is the blessing of Radharani. So I thought I should tell you the story in the end so that you can understand. This story relates to us. We are something like Ashwatthama, you know. We are so many wrong things we have done. We have been in material world for a long time. So we need Radharani's blessings. We need blessings of Radharani to save ourselves. So let us end our pilgrimage to Barsana by heartfelt prayers, begging Radharani to save us, to pardon us, to forgive us, so that we save ourselves and deliver ourselves from the clutches of the material world of repeated birth and death. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So I see that Rupa Manjari has arrived. Yes.